Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. Beginning with the latest on the search for a missing boy in northeast Nebraska. The Knox County Sheriff's Office says they've looked at surveillance footage from Monday evening that showed Holden Duncan on foot walking unharmed on the north edge of Crofton. Law enforcement also tells us this isn't the first time Holden has not gone home right away after school, although they say he's never been missing this long. The search for the 12-year-old entered its third day on Wednesday, with Crofton Fire and Rescue and Knox County Sheriff's officials leading a search involving multiple agencies on foot and in the air using drones and helicopters. Knox County Sheriff says the FBI has been consulted, and the State Patrol issued an endangered missing advisory for Holden on Wednesday. Sheriff's officials tell us they believe Holden is still in hiding somewhere in the immediate Crofton area. They're asking anyone with home surveillance cameras in the Crofton area to check them going back to Monday afternoon. In international news, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was in Doha on Thursday meeting with Qatari officials who've been key mediators for Hamas as the U.S. struggles to break the logjam of ceasefire negotiations between Israel and the militant group. This is the Lebanese military said Thursday an Israeli strike killed 3 of its troops, including an officer, as they were evacuating wounded people in southern Lebanon. And French President Emmanuel Macron said his country will provide a €100 million aid package to support Lebanon. A U.S. Senator Dept of Nebraska said in an interview with News Channel Nebraska that the ongoing push for lasting peace in the region can only start with Israel.
It's up to Israel to do this. It's not up to the United States to try and push this on Israel. They have made it very, very plain that they need to wipe out the terrorists who are our enemies as well, that they need to wipe them out if there's going to be peace in the region.
The Israel-Hamas war began after Hamas-led militants last year blew holes in Israel's security fence and stormed in, killing some 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and abducting 250 others. Now, Israel's offensive in Gaza has killed over 42,000 Palestinians, according to local health authorities who don't differentiate between militants and civilians. UN humanitarian officials are reporting harrowing levels of death, injury, and destruction in northern Gaza as Israel wages another major operation there. Eventually, Gaza will need to be rebuilt, which Senator Fisher says needs to be led by U.S.-friendly nations in the Middle East.
I think that our role should be to encourage our partners in the area, and Saudi Arabia is a partner of the United States in the area, to encourage them to step forward, to have the Arab nations become more responsible in their connections to the Palestinians and be able to offer help as well. It doesn't always have to come from the United States.
Blinken is on his 11th trip to the Middle East since the start of the Israel-Hamas war, as Lebanon's caretaker prime ministers called for an immediate ceasefire and full implementation of a UN resolution that ended the last Israel-Hezbollah war. Well, a building that partially collapsed last month in central Nebraska is in the process of being torn down. And as Ryan Valenta reports, the building is affecting other businesses in the area.
After sitting vacant in downtown Hastings for more than 2.5 years, a building that has caused many residents and business owners headaches is finally coming down. As you can see and hear behind me, demolition is underway on this partially collapsed building, which happened just about a month ago in the downtown Hastings area. Comes as a relief to many, especially for one business next door who has felt the adverse effects of the collapse for the past month.
Vicky and Mike Nyman are the owners of South Central Taekwondo in downtown Hastings and thought this setback wouldn't last long.
It was like, okay, well, we'll just, cancel classes a couple days and we'll be back in on Monday.
Their studio is next door to the aforementioned building that suffered a partial collapse on September 18th. The collapsed building had been vacant since March of 2022 after it was damaged from a fire from the old Burt's Pharmacy building, which has since been torn down. City officials told the Nymans after the collapse that their building was being condemned due to safety concerns, which has displaced them from their business and caused a steep decline in memberships.
The teen and adult has declined. There's some that haven't come back. And then we have the little dragons, like I said, the 4, 5, and 6-year-olds, and it's in about down at least a third, if not more.
On Tuesday afternoon, just over a month after the collapse, a demolition company knocked down the rest of the building. But the Nymans believe this whole situation could have been avoided in the first place.
We would have liked to have seen something done, anything at this point. I mean, the birds were constantly in there. You could see bricks falling out of that southeast corner. Every day there was more bricks. That's when they put up that one thing around screen to keep the bricks from falling out on the sidewalk.
With the building fully knocked down and crews still working on hauling away the remaining debris, city officials are aiming to reopen the affected area as quick as possible.
The city's ready to get people back in their building as quick as possible, remove those barricades, open up the streets. We don't want that area closed down or businesses out of their homes any more than anybody else.
Meanwhile, for the past 3 weeks, South Central Taekwondo has found a new home at the new Revived Substance Abuse Treatment Center, which is still being remodeled. The Nymans are able to hold their martial arts classes in their own room to keep their business afloat, away from home base. Vicky says they're grateful for the nonprofit's generosity and is also using this experience to teach her students a valuable lesson.
Left is still left and right is still right. And I'm trying to get across to the kids that stuff in life happens, and you have to have some resiliency. You have to be able to come back from something that wasn't good and still maintain your life.
The timeline on when the Nymans and their students can move back downtown is still murky, as Vicky says she's been told several different lengths of time. With the building now fully knocked down, finishing touches and site cleanup are expected to be completed by next week. Reporting in downtown Hastings, Ryan Valenta, News Channel Nebraska.
Columbus's fire department is getting some new and fairly expensive equipment. Columbus's City Council this week unanimously approved a quote from Electronic Engineering for over $620,000. This in efforts to upgrade their current radio equipment, something Assistant Fire Chief Nathan Jones says has been a long time coming.
There's been quite a few incidents that I've been involved in, Chief's been involved in, that we were literally trying to talk to each other either on the same level or just a level above. So just having that cohesion of communication from inside the building to outside the command is going to be huge in keeping our firefighters safe.
The quote includes 46 handheld radios with remote speakers, spare batteries, bank chargers, mobile radios, in-vehicle repeaters, and programming provisions. Fire Chief Ryan Gray said he appreciates his fellow city officials for helping make it possible, as well as the City Council for approving the amended plan. Well, thanks to the statewide support organization APACE, 3 people living with disabilities in southeast Nebraska now have a place to call home for as long as they choose. Tim Hackett was on site for yesterday's open house and has more.
Wednesday afternoon was the first chance for both outsiders and future insiders, including 3 full-time residents and a few live-in support professionals, to see Fairbury's newest home, a fully functional 1-story home for folks living with disabilities operated by APACE, which oversees nearly 200 patients in 70 homes across southeast Nebraska. This house, though, on D Street in Fairbury, is the second of its kind. The first was built in Nebraska City late last year, and this one will formally welcome its newest residents in mid-November. Part of the purpose of building something brand new is that APACE and its partners can ensure that their patients have what they need to survive. Handicap-accessible doorways, hallways, and bathrooms with a roll-in shower, and a pantry that doubles as a ground floor storm shelter.
Oftentimes, the homes that are in the community have stairs, aren't necessarily accessible, and so we've really prioritized that to ensure that individuals can age in place and not have to move when they don't have the ability to do what they once were able to do.
This home has 3 bedrooms for the patients to live in, but new to this location is a 4th bedroom exclusively for the employees, designated support professionals, to live, sleep, and work in, something not many existing homes have.
This is home away from home. You know, I'm here almost as much as I'm at my own home. And, I sleep here, I eat here, I do laundry here, So it's nice that we are recognized in that, and that we have our own private spot, to go to. But we're also very central, so we're there when we need to be there.
There's at least one, if not two, DSPs on site at all times to tend to their patients, all of whom were on hand Wednesday to give tours to friends and local officials before they move in next month. And by design, this home will be theirs for as long as they want it or need it to be. In Fairbury, Tim Hackett, News Channel Nebraska.
And finally, the group Honor and Remember Nebraska held its first dedication of the Nebraska Memorial Forest, which is taking root all across the state. Dan Swanson has the story.
The Nebraska Memorial Forest gained momentum this fall at the Horning State Research Farm, where 50 trees are serving as a living memorial to Cass County's fallen military and first responder heroes. Jim Meyer, director of Honor and Remember Nebraska, said plantings for the Nebraska Memorial Forest started 2 years ago with a goal of 7,500 trees in groves of 50 or more. A total of 1,400 trees are already growing at locations in 15 counties. Plattsmouth Mayor Paul Lambert spoke at the statewide Memorial Forest's first dedication.
Well, I want to tell you I'm here to pay a little bit on a debt that I'll never be able to repay. And that's what these people sacrifice, these heroes sacrificed for us.
The grove was planted a year ago at the border of the 240-acre Horning Farm and the Pleasant Ridge Cemetery. Farm Supervisor Andrew Zahn said it will be under the care of the Nebraska Forest Service.
There was a fence that separated the two properties at one time, but this opportunity allowed us to remove that fence, and now this memorial forest is open to the public.
Bill Warline, cemetery president and an American Legion commander, urges completion of the memorial forest.
We call ourselves brothers and sisters in arms because we went in, we gave that blank check to the U.S. government and said, here's our life, use it as you need it.
Myers said each of the trees is matched to a fallen hero by tag, QR code, or GPS tracking on the website.
My vision is that people, all Nebraskans and people from other states, but especially Nebraskans, will adopt a tree, get to know that fallen hero's name, get to know their lives. Because you die twice, when your heart doesn't beat anymore and when nobody says your name anymore.
Other memorial forest locations include Omaha, Lincoln, Sarpy County, Valentine, Bassett, and South Sioux City. From Plattsmouth, I'm Dan Swanson, News Channel Nebraska.
And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com and click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. This is News Channel Nebraska.